I woke up in my sister's body on the morning of her wedding. Her perfect life, now mine to dismantle. And the first thing I did was text her fiancé a photo of us, her old self and me, tangled in sheets that smelled like regret. My family had spent years laughing at me, the spinster aunt with the dead-end job and the empty apartment. But today, in this stolen skin, I'd make them choke on every joke. And when the groom saw the date I'd brought to the altar, a ghost from our shared past, handcuffed to my wrist by secrets they'd buried, he didn't laugh, he begged. That was the hook, the razor edge I clung to as I navigated this nightmare. My name's Chloe, or it was, until the swap. 32 years old, raised in the sticky sweet suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia, where magnolias bloom like lies and family barbecues hide grudges sharper than a serrated knife. We'd grown up in a sprawling colonial house on Peachtree Road, the kind with white columns that scream old money and white picket fences that whisper about the help who mowed the lawn. Mama was a debutante-turned-real estate queen, Daddy a lawyer who defended crooked developers. And my sister, Eliza, she was the golden child, the one who got the trust fund, the sorority bids, and the husband-to-be who looked like he stepped out of a J. Crew catalog.
Me?
I was the fuck-up. The one who dropped out of Emory after that incident in my junior year, the one they all whispered about but never named. Single by choice, they said at first, until the years piled on, and it became single by default. Aunt Chloe, the eternal bridesmaid, the punchline at Thanksgiving when Uncle Ray would slur, "Girl, you gonna die alone with your cats and your true crime podcasts." They'd roar, plates of turkey wobbling, while Eliza patted my hand like I was a charity case. "Chloe's just picky," she'd coo, her diamond engagement ring flashing like a warning shot.
Picky. Right.
As if they knew the half of it. The truth? Eliza didn't just steal the spotlight. She stole my goddamn life. It started back in college. That secret we'd buried so deep it festered like an untreated wound. I was the brains, pre-med, top of my class, interning at a clinic in Midtown where I patched up the uninsured and dreamed of opening my own practice in the hood, giving back to the neighborhood's daddy's clients were gentrifying into oblivion. Eliza was the beauty, floating through her art history degree on daddy's donations, partying at frat houses where the beer flowed and the consequences never touched her. One night, sophomore year, we were at the same kegger, me nursing a warm PBR in the corner, her holding court in a red solo cup of something spiked. I stepped out for air, ended up in the backyard with a guy named Marcus, a poli-sci major with dreads and a smile that cut through the humid night like a promise. We talked for hours about redlining in Bankhead, the school-to-prison pipeline, how we'd fix it all if we ran the world. It was real, the kind of spark that makes you forget your last name. Eliza saw it. And she wanted it. By dawn, Marcus was hers, and I was the creepy friend who'd read too much into things. But that wasn't the betrayal that broke me. No, that came later, when Eliza got sloppy. She was snorting lines off a dorm room desk, hooked on the coke that came with the privilege, and when the campus dealer turned up dead, overdose gone wrong, they said she panicked. Framed me, planted my ID in his pocket, whispered to the cops about how I'd been acting erratic after Marcus dumped me. I took the fall, expelled, record tainted, dreams of med school circling the drain like cigarette butts in a motel sink. Daddy's lawyer spun it, community service, sealed records, but the damage stuck. Eliza got a slap on the wrist, a semester abroad in Paris to find herself, I got a job as a phlebotomist at a free clinic in East Atlanta, drawing blood from folks who looked at me like I was the enemy in Scrubs. And the family? They never asked questions. Just started the mocking. "Chloe's too busy saving the world to save herself a man," Mama would say, her voice dripping saccharin over sweet tea. Eliza's wedding invite arrived like a grenade, engraved cardstock, monogrammed envelopes. A +1 slot I left blank, because who the hell would I bring? My shadow? That's when the swap happened. Not some hocus-pocus curse, but science gone rogue, Daddy's latest side hustle. Turns out, the old man's firm was bankrolling a black market neurotech startup in Silicon Valley. Experimental implants for enhanced empathy that rich assholes use to seal deals. Eliza, ever the beta tester, got one slotted behind her ear during a spa day in Buckhead.
Me?
I found the prototype in her vanity, a sleek vial of nanites, meant to sync minds for couples therapy. Desperate. Vengeful. I injected it that night after swiping it from her pre-wedding prep, staring at her Instagram feed of gown fittings and bridal showers. "What if I knew what you felt?" I whispered to the mirror. Plunger sinking in. Lightning in my veins. Then blackout. I came to in silk sheets that smelled like Chanel No. 5 and ambition. My hands, her hands, manicured to porcelain perfection. Eliza's penthouse in Midtown, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the glittering skyline, the kind of view that makes you forget the homeless encampments under the bridges. I stumbled to the bathroom, and there she was, my face, my mousy brown bob, my thrift store pajamas, blinking back from the glass.
No.
I touched my cheek, smooth, Botoxed, and felt the implant hum like a trapped hornet. We'd swapped. Not souls. Exactly. But neural maps, memories bleeding, instincts overriding. I had her poise. Her Rolodex of connections. She had my rage, my grit. Panic hit like a freight train, but under it, a cold clarity. This was my shot. The wedding was in 6 hours at the Biltmore Estate, Asheville, North Carolina. A drive up I-85 that Eliza had planned as a rustic chic escape from Atlanta's heat. I'd be her, walking down the aisle to Tyler, her fiancé, the venture capitalist with the jawline and the jet. And I'd bring a date. Not just any date, the one secret that could unravel it all. I rifled through her closet, fingers trembling in this unfamiliar grace. White gown. Off-the-shoulder lace that cost more than my yearly rent, paired with Louboutins that pinched like accusations. Makeup. Her signature cat eye. Bold red lips that screamed, "Don't fuck with me." In the mirror, I looked like a predator in prey's clothing. My phone, her phone buzzed. "Mama." "Darling. Where are you?" "The hair team's waiting." I typed back in her clipped tone. "Traffic. Be there soon. Love you."
Lie.
All of it. The drive north was a blur of pine-scented highways and podcasts on true crime. Ironic, given my new reality. My mind raced with plans, half-formed like storm clouds. Expose the frame job? Whisper to Tyler about the coke-fueled night that birthed their perfect love.
No.
Too clean. Revenge had to be dirty, the kind that leaves stains. Controversial. The sort that makes dinner tables fall silent and therapists rich. I pulled into the Biltmore's Ballet Circle as the sun dipped low, casting the Renaissance chateau in bloody gold. Groomsmen in slim-fit tuxes milled about, champagne flutes clinking like false promises. Tyler spotted me first, tall, blonde, with eyes like polished quartz. Babe, he drawled. That southern drawl wrapping around vowels, like kudzu. You look edible. He kissed my cheek, hand lingering on my waist, and I felt a flicker, not mine, hers, of possession. The implant hummed, sinking us in echoes. I smiled, Eliza's megawatt beam, and murmured, "Wait till you meet my plus one." His brow furrowed. Plus one? Since when? Since I decided to drag your world into mine, I thought. But aloud, surprise. Old friend from college. Marcus. The name hung like smoke. Tyler's face drained of color, that easy grin cracking at the edges. Marcus Washington, now a civil rights attorney in Birmingham, the man Eliza poached and I lost. I tracked him down last year at a rally in Montgomery, confessed over cheap whiskey in a dive bar off Court Street. No flames reignited, just understanding. A shared scar. But he'd agreed to this. One text from me, in her voice. Need a favor. Wedding crash. Truth time. And here he was, pulling up in a rented Escalade, stepping out in a tailored suit that hugged his broad shoulders. Dreads pulled back. Eyes locked on the entrance like he was storming a courtroom. Tyler excused himself to check on the officiant, but I saw the sweat beading on his collar.
Good.
Let it seep. The bridal suite awaited upstairs. A lavender-scented war room where Mama fussed over veil pins and Eliza, trapped in my body, paced in the corner, wild-eyed.
She lunged when she saw me.
What the fuck did you do? Chloe? Fix this. Her voice, my voice, cracked like cheap glass. The family thought she was me, the nervous sister having a meltdown. I waved off the stylist, pulled her into the powder room, locked the door. You stole everything, I hissed, my words tumbling out in Eliza's honeyed timbre. My future, my man, my fucking name in the mud. Now walk in my shoes. Feel the blisters. She clawed at the sink, tears smearing my old mascara. It was a mistake. The dealer, he was pushing too hard. I was scared. I laughed. Low and bitter. I was innocent. You let me rot. The implant buzzed, flashing her memories. The high of that night, the terror of discovery, the cold calculation to pin it on the troubled sister. Betrayal, deep as marrow. But there was more, a hidden layer, bubbling up like bile. Tyler knew. Not all of it, but enough. He'd helped cover the tracks, wired hush money from his daddy's pack to the right pockets. Power, the kind that buys silence and brides. The door rattled, Mama's voice, shrill. Girls? Ceremony in 30. I straightened Eliza's, no. My dress. Patted her cheek. Smile for the cameras.
Sis.
Or I'll make sure Marcus does the talking. Down in the grand hall, the organ swelled like a dying breath. Guests in pastel seersucker and floral sheaths filled the pews, old money from Savannah to Charleston. The kind who summer in the Hamptons and winter in Palm Beach. Daddy walked her down the aisle, his arms steady, eyes misty with pride he never gave me. Tyler waited at the altar, fidgeting, his best man whispering furiously. And there, in the back row, Marcus. Our eyes met, a nod like a loaded gun. The vows began. Tyler's voice steady at first. Tyler Harrington. Take thee. Eliza. But then Marcus stood, slow and deliberate, the hall hushing like a held breath. Objection, he said. voice booming off the vaulted ceilings. Gasps rippled, controversial. Yes, but delicious. Tyler's face twisted. Who the hell? I stepped forward, veil whispering against the marble. He's my date. And he has something to say. Marcus climbed the steps, pulling a folder from his jacket. Yellowed clippings. Redacted emails. The autopsy report I dug up last winter in the Fulton County archives. Eliza Brooks framed her sister for murder. Back in '09. Covered it up with help from her now-fiancé here. Murmurs erupted. Mama fainting into Aunt Raylene's arms. Daddy surged forward. But security, hired by Tyler's firm, held him back. Tyler's eyes darted to me, pleading. Babe, this is insane. Tell them it's a lie. I lifted my chin. Eliza's poised my armor. Is it? Or did you both think I forgot? The twist hit then. The implant flaring like a short circuit. Memories flooded, not just hers, but mine. Refracted. That night at the party. It wasn't just coke. I'd been there. In the shadows. Sharing a line with the dealer because med school stress was crushing me. And Eliza walked in on it. She took the fall?
No.
I pushed her away. Hid my own tracks. Let her jealousy over Marcus blind me to the setup. The frame was mutual, her planting the ID. Me whispering the rumors to campus security to deflect. We'd both sinned. Buried it together in sisterly silence. The swap hadn't just stolen her body, it unearthed the lie we'd both lived. Chaos bloomed. Guests fleeing. Tyler lunging at Marcus. Punches thrown amid shattering crystal. I know. We stood frozen as cops swarmed, the Biltmore's opulence cracking like eggshell. Eliza, in my body, screamed from the sidelines. It was her too. She was there. Truth reversed. The betrayal a mirror, reflecting us both as monsters. In the end, they arrested Tyler for the payoffs, Eliza for the original frame, manslaughter. Reduced to probation because Daddy's checkbook wept.
Me?
Chloe in Eliza's shell. I walked free, but the implant fritzed out that night, swapping us back in a haze of vomit and violins. Back in my skin, scars and all, I drove south alone, the skyline fading in the rearview. Happy? Tragic? The family splintered, Mama, in therapy. Daddy disbarred whispers chasing him to Florida. Marcus texted, "You good?" I replied, learning to laugh at the jokes. Was it revenge? Or just reckoning? The courts called it justice, the tabloids, scandal.
Me?
I call it survival. American as apple pie laced with arsenic. And if they mock me now, single and scarred,
Let them.
I've got stories that could fill a confessional or a courtroom. Your move. The fallout from the Biltmore debacle hit like a Category 5 through our family group chat. Deleted en masse, but screenshots circulating faster than roaches in a tenement. How could you? Chloe, Mama's text, timestamped 2:17 a.m., followed by a string of crying emojis that looked like they'd been clawed out of her Botoxed facade. Daddy's was curt. Lawyers in the morning. Stay put. Eliza's? Radio silence. Until a burner number pinged at dawn. You ruined everything. But we're even now. Or are we even? As if sins could ledger out like a bank statement. I wasn't staying put. Atlanta's sprawl felt like a cage after Asheville's mountain air. So I bolted to my studio in Grant Park, tiny, with exposed brick and a fire escape that rattled like bad karma in the wind. The place smelled of takeout lo mein and lavender from the diffuser I'd bought to manifest peace. Ironic now. I collapsed on the futon. Body aching from the swap's aftershocks. Migraines like drill bits. Phantom itches where her manicure had been. The implant?
Gun.
Dissolved in the nanite purge. But the echoes lingered. Flashes of her board meetings. Her pillow talk with Tyler. The way she'd justified it all in therapy sessions, I now half remembered. Chloe's always been unstable, she'd told the shrink. It's not my fault she couldn't keep up. Unstable. The word festered as I scrolled the feeds. TMZ had the wedding crash. Eris's sister derails nuptials with murder confession bombshell. Grainy video of Marcus's objection looped. My veiled face a ghost in the frame. Comments piled like vultures. Karma's a bitch. Eliza. Typical rich girl drama. Pass the popcorn. A few defended me. Chloe's a hero. Justice for the framed. Hero.
Villain.
The line blurred. And in the quiet, I wondered if I'd crossed it. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of mirrors shattering into infinite Elizas. Each one mouthing my secrets. Woke to pounding literal. On the door. Marcus. Coffee in hand. His suit rumpled from the overnight drive back. Figured you'd need backup, he said. Stepping in without asking. That easy confidence filling the room like smoke from a good cigar. We hadn't spoken much since the rally hookup, but the wedding had welded us in complicity. He handed me a Veni Americano. Bloskas my muet. Cops cleared you preliminary. At least. Tyler's lawyered up, singing like a canary to cut a deal. I sipped, the burn grounding me. And Eliza? She's holed up at the house, playing victim. Mama's got a private jet warming up for a retreat in Sedona. He paused, eyes searching my face, the real one, freckled and frayed. You okay? Chloe? That was some dark sorcery you pulled. Not sorcery. Science. Daddy's dirty little secret. I told him about the implant, the swap, the neural bleed that let me taste her lies like bitter almonds. His jaw tightened, that lawyer's tick when he smelled perjury. We could sue the startup. Expose the whole racket, nanotech black market. Elite mindfucks for the 1%. Tempting. But revenge wasn't a class action suit. It was personal. A knife twisted slow. Not yet, I said. First, I finished what I started. We planned over cold pizza from Antico. Grease spotting the blueprints I'd sketched on napkins. Eliza's life. Mapped like a heist. Her job at the gallery, curating blue-chip auctions for Christie's Atlanta outpost, where million-dollar Warhols moved like contraband. Her socials, a carousel of brunches at the Colonnade and galas at the High Museum. Tyler's firm, Harrington Ventures, laundering VC cash into greenwash startups that frack the Appalachians dry. The betrayal ran deeper than one frame job. It was systemic. A web of power where sisters like us were pawns or queens, never equals. My first move, infiltrate. I called in a favor from my clinic days Jada, the ER nurse who'd stitched me up after a bar fight in Little 5 Points. Need a disguise, I told her over burner. She met me at a wig shop in Ponce City Market, all synthetic blondes and smoky eyeshadows. Girl, you lookin' like you 'bout to rob a bank, she laughed, braiding extensions into my hair. Or a heart. Both, I replied.
Died.
Contact lensed, in a sheath dress that hugged like second skin. I crashed Eliza's emergency board meeting at the St. Regis that afternoon. Posed as a journalist from Art Forum. Badge swiped from a contact at the AJC. The conference room overlooked Peachtree. Board members in Hermes scarves nodding as Eliza, pale, pill-popped, pitched her comeback exhibit, Redemption, Fractured Reflections, ironic title for a thief of identities. I raised my hand during Q&A, voice pitched low. MS. Brooks, how do you reconcile your personal scandals with curating authenticity in art?
Gasps.
Her eyes locked on mine, recognition flickering, then denial. I'm sorry. And you are? Someone who knows what it's like to be framed. I slid the folder across the table, photocopies of the dorm incident, annotated with Tyler's emails. Wire the $50,000 to the widow. Keep Chloe's name out. Chaos. Chairs scraping.
Calls for security.
Eliza bolted, but not before I whispered. Your move, sis. The controversial part? I leaked it all to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that night. Anonymous tip with timestamps. By morning, headlines screamed, Art World Scandal. Brooks' heiress linked to cover-up. Sponsors pulled. The exhibit tanked. Mama called. Voice a wreck. Chloe, this is family. We're Brooks. We protect our own.
Protect.
Like they protected me when the expulsion letter came, or when job apps ghosted because of the incident. But the twist nod. In the swap's echoes, I'd seen more. Eliza's abortion. Sophomore year. Hushed with Daddy's Amex. Tyler's affairs. Coke-fueled trysts with interns. And me, I'd known about the dealer. Supplied him once from a hookup in Vine City, thinking it was harmless rebellion. We'd both danced with the devil. She'd just led. Marcus crashed at my place that week. The futon his throne. Case files spread like tarot cards. You're spiraling, he said one night, after I downed a bottle of Pinot and ranted about blood debts. His hand on my knee, tentative, electric. This ain't just revenge. It's atonement. I pulled away, the air thick with what-ifs. For who? Her? Me? We kissed anyway. Messy and urgent. Bodies remembering the party where it started. No promises. Just release. A controversial choice in a city that still side-eyed black man. White woman pairings over sweet tea. But fuck the optics. This was my narrative now. The climax brewed at Daddy's firm holiday gala. Black tie at the Georgia Aquarium. Whale sharks gliding like omens overhead. Eliza would be there. Arm candy to a new suitor. Tyler in cuffs pending plea. I went as myself. Unmasked. In a thrift rack room gown that screamed defiance. Marcus on my arm. Head high. The room hushed as we entered. Whispers slithering like eels. Daddy cornered us by the beluga tank. Chloe. Enough. Eliza's broken. The firm's hemorrhaging clients. Good. I spat. Maybe now you see what framing feels like. He deflated. Bourbon breath sour. It was to protect you both. The dealer, he was connected. Mob ties from the old neighborhood. Eliza took the heat first.
But you.
You were the weak link.
Weak.
The word ignited. I grabbed a mic from the auctioneer. Impromptu toast turn takedown. To the Brooks family, masters of illusion. Eliza framed me for her sins. Daddy buried them with bribes. And Mama smiled through the lies. But tonight, the truth swims free. Projections flickered, hacked from Tyler's server. Emails. Wire transfers. The dealer's talks report naming us both. Guests recoiled. Champagne spilling like confessions. Eliza stormed the stage. Dress tearing on a chair. Liar. You were there. Chloe, you sold him the shit. The hall froze. Truth reversed again. My hand in the poison. Her shove into the grave. Cops swarmed anew. This time for me. Accessory charges. Conspiracy whispers. Marcus pulled me back. Say nothing, but the damage bloomed. Handcuffs bit into my wrists like the universe's punchline. Cold steel against the gala's fairy lights as they marched me out past gasping socialites and flashing iPhones. The aquarium's undercurrent hummed, whale sharks circling oblivious, while sirens wailed in the distance, Atlanta's finest. Blue lights fracturing the night like my sanity. Eliza watched from the stage, her face a mask of triumph and terror. The new suitor vanishing into the crowd like a bad bet. You deserved it, she mouthed. But her eyes, mirrors of mine, held the lie. We'd caged each other. Sisters in a war of one. The holding cell at Fulton County smelled of bleach and broken dreams. Fluorescent buzz drilling into my skull. Marcus bailed me out by 3 a.m., his credit card maxed, face etched with that courtroom steel. Please and play, he said in the lobby. Rain slicking the windows. Manslaughter mutual, probation, maybe community service. But Chloe, you gotta stop. Stop? The word tasted like surrender. Bitter as the vending machine coffee he pressed into my hand. We drove back in silence. Wipers slapping rhythm like a metronome to my unraveling. My apartment waited. Door ajar, cops courtesy search. Drawers rifled. Secrets spilled. I sank to the floor amid the mess. Photo albums from childhood tumbling out. Us in pigtails at Stone Mountain. Easter bonnets and gap-toothed grins. Before the betrayal. Before the drugs and the dealer, and the decisions that damned us. Dawn broke gray. December, chill seeping through the cracks. Mama showed up unannounced. Pearls clutched like rosaries, her Mercedes idling curbside. Chloe Marie Brooks, she started. Voice a whipcrack of old authority. You've shamed us all. We sat at my formica table. Herbal tea steaming untouched. She laid it out, the full history, the one daddy shielded with NDAs and no questions asked wire transfers. The dealer? Not just some Vine City hustler, Rico Alvarez. Nephew to a cartel lieutenant daddy had crossed in a land deal gone south. Eliza's indiscretion was a setup, retaliation that spiraled when I got tangled in the supply chain, naive and numb from pre-med burnout. You were both victims, Mama said, eyes wet but makeup intact. But you chose vengeance over family. Family? I laughed. Hollow. You mocked me for years, single. Scarred. The family joke. Where was the protection then? She flinched, hand trembling on her Chanel flap bag. We were scared. Of losing you to the streets. Like your cousin in '98. The cousin. Overdosed in a crack house off MLK. The one we never named at reunions. Fear. Not malice. The great American excuse. But it didn't absolve the taunts. The sidelong glances at holidays when I'd show up solo. Plate balanced on my knee. She left with a hug that felt like goodbye. And I was alone again, truly, for the first time since the swap. The implant's ghosts whispered, Eliza's loneliness in Paris. Faking orgasms with Tyler. Curating emptiness into art. My own. The clinic patients who'd called me Angel. The hookups that fizzled into dawn awkwardness. We'd both been single in our souls. Mocking each other to feel less exposed. Marcus moved in officially that week. His suits hanging beside my scrubs. His bar exam books stacked on my true crime shelf. We navigated the plea, Joint counsel. Reduced to reckless endangerment. 500 hours at a Vine City Youth Center teaching choices and consequences. Controversial? Hell yes. The press dubbed it the Brooks Blood Pact, op-eds debating privilege's price. Can atonement erase elite sins? Protests outside the courthouse. Signs reading justice or just us? Ironic. Given Marcus's keynote on the steps. Arm around me. Preaching systemic rot. Eliza got the same deal. But hers came with exile. Gallery blacklisted. Trust fund frozen till she rehabilitated in Sedona with Mama. We met once. Neutral ground at a Starbucks in Buckhead, awkward. Lattes cooling between us. I hated you, she said. No preamble. Her hair chopped short like penance. For being real when I couldn't. And I hated you for stealing the mask. We didn't hug. Didn't forgive. But we shared a look, the kind that says, we're even. For now. She drove off in a rental Prius. Atlanta's skyline shrinking in her mirror. Spring thawed the tension. Magnolias blooming defiant along the beltline where I jogged off the stress. The youth center gig? Eye-opening. Kids with eyes like mine at 19, hungry for more. Trapped in cycles we Brooks had greased. I taught phlebotomy basics. Marcus guest lectured on law. Our date, now a partnership that scared me with its steadiness. No wedding bells. No Vegas elopement. Just dinners at Mary Mac's, where the fried green tomatoes tasted like tentative peace. But the dark lingered. As a storm cellar. Tyler? 6 months in county for fraud. Out on good behavior. Slinging real estate in Alpharetta like nothing happened. One night, he cornered Marcus at a bar on Peachtree, drunk. Desperate. Tell Chloe I'm sorry. It was all Eliza. Marcus decked him. Clean hook to the jaw. And we laughed about it later. Tangled in sheets that smelled like us. Not regret. The ending? Debatable. As all good American tragedies are. Happy, I'm dating a man who sees me. Not the shadow. The family's fractured but healing. Mama sending passive-aggressive care packages of monogrammed towels. Tragic. The swap scarred us permanent. Trust a casualty like the dealer in that dorm. I catch Eliza's posts from Sedona, yoga poses, captions about rebirth, and wonder if she'd swap back. Given the chance. Me? I choose forward. Single no more. But if the mocks return, I'll meet them with a smile sharp as the Biltmore's chandeliers. After all, in this body, mine, finally, I've got the power to stop the laughing. Or start my own. Twist of fate or full circle. Atlanta keeps spinning. Humid and unyielding. And in the quiet hours, when the implant's echo hums faint, I whisper to the mirror, your turn to be the joke. But whose reflection answers? That's the controversy we'll argue till the grave.